Chosen ones. Have you ever stepped into a room and felt the air change, as if the very atmosphere recognized your presence? Eyes turned to you, some filled with silent admiration, others glaring with envy or resentment. Have you wondered why people, even those you've never wronged, rise against you with schemes and bitterness? It's because you are not ordinary. You are chosen by God, set apart for a divine purpose, and your existence alone disrupts the comfort of those who hide in darkness. You walk with the light of God, and that light forces others to confront their own shadows. Today, we are uncovering a truth that many of your enemies have painfully learned. Their brutal awakening to the fact that no weapon formed against God's chosen can ever prosper. Their envy, their schemes, their whispered lies, all of it has backfired spectacularly, turning into the very stepping stones for your elevation. Proverbs 14:30 reminds us, "A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones." Imagine the torment they've endured, consumed by bitterness, watching you rise higher and higher while they sink deeper into their own darkness. You see, your growth is a testimony, a reflection of God's favor. What they intended for evil, God used for good. While they plotted in secret, the Lord was preparing a public display of your victory. Isaiah 54:17 declares, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." It doesn't mean weapons won't be formed. It means they will never succeed. Every attack, every snare, every trap, they all became part of the soil from which your blessings grew. Their plans didn't just fail. They became the very chains that bound them, while God's favor propelled you into your purpose. Before we dive deeper into how God orchestrates such poetic justice, take a moment to declare who you are. If you feel that fire in your spirit, that undeniable truth that you are one of God's chosen ones, comment 777 below. Let this be a bold statement of faith and alignment with God's divine plan for your life. And to all who have generously supported this mission through Super Thanks, know that your contributions not only sustain this journey, but inspire countless others to step into their calling. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Now, let me ask you this. Have you considered why your path has been so fiery? Why every challenge seems to push you closer to your purpose? Could it be that God is using even your enemies to shape you into the person He's called you to be? Stay with me as we uncover how this brutal awakening has not only silenced your adversaries, but also set the stage for your greatest season yet. The road ahead is filled with undeniable blessings, and your story will not just inspire, it will awaken others to the unshakable power of God's favor. This is not the end of your journey. This is the beginning of a divine breakthrough that will leave even your enemies in awe. Are you ready to step fully into the purpose God has for you? Let's walk this path together and discover the magnitude of His promises. Let's begin. God's chosen ones, this is the most brutal awakening your enemies have ever faced. Number 1. Your silence became their judgment day. There comes a time in every chosen one's life when the only response left to give is silence. It is not the silence of defeat nor the silence of fear. It is the silence of wisdom and strength. When the world around you erupts in noise, accusations and schemes, your refusal to engage is the sharpest sword of all. This silence was never emptiness. It was divine strategy, a mirror they never expected to face, reflecting their own brokenness, envy, and guilt. Have you ever noticed how those who seek to harm you often crave your attention the most? They plot, they provoke, and they push, all in the hopes that you will react, because your reaction validates their false power. They were counting on your anger, your frustration, your desperation to explain yourself. But instead, you gave them nothing, Just like Jesus when he stood before his accusers in silence, you let their own words become their judgment. Matthew 27:12-14 tells us, "When he was accused by the chief priests and elders, he gave no answer. But Jesus made no reply, not even to a single charge, to the great amazement of the governor." Think about that. Christ himself, the King of Kings, stood silent before the storm of accusations. Why? Because he understood something they didn't. Silence speaks louder than words. It forces the world to see the truth. It dismantles lies without you ever having to raise your voice. Your silence was never weakness. It was power. In refusing to engage, you handed back their words, their schemes, and their pettiness like a sword that cuts both ways. Every insult they hurled at you became a reflection of their own desperation. Every petty act only exposed them. Their hatred, their envy, their darkness had nothing to do with you. It was always about the emptiness they carried within themselves. But it was your silence that revealed this truth. They thought they were the puppeteers, pulling the strings, expecting you to crumble under their weight. Yet, when you stood still, their illusion shattered. Like David before Goliath, you didn't need to engage in their noise. You just needed to show up with the confidence of someone God himself has chosen. Psalm 46:10 tells us, "Be still and know that I am God." By refusing to react, you demonstrated this unwavering truth. God fights for those he has called. You didn't need to lift a hand because the battle was never yours to begin with. It belonged to the Lord. Can you feel that, chosen one? The power of stillness. They thought your silence was defeat, but in reality, it became their undoing. The more they pushed, the more the world saw their true colors. As they spiraled into bitterness, they became the architects of their own destruction. In Proverbs 26:27, we are warned, "Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them." This is the poetic justice of God at work. Those who sought to bury you ended up buried under the weight of their own hatred. But let me ask you this: how did it feel to step back and watch their plans unravel? How did it feel to know that every attempt to harm you only elevated you further? That silence wasn't just a lack of reaction, it was your testimony. In choosing stillness, you allowed God to take center stage. Remember Joseph's story in Genesis 37:50. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and falsely accused, Joseph could have spoken out in bitterness. He could have fought to justify himself, yet he trusted God. His silence through the trials allowed God's plan to unfold. Years later, when his brothers stood before him trembling, he said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 50:20. Your silence carries the same power. It allows God to turn what was meant for evil into a blessing so profound, even your enemies will have to acknowledge his hand upon your life. Here's the truth. Those who sought to break you underestimated who you belong to. They didn't realize that when you are silent, God speaks. When you are still, he moves. Your silence wasn't surrender. It was the ultimate victory. While they were trying to control the narrative, God was rewriting it. They thought they could bury you, but instead, they planted you. And now you are rising, stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than ever before. Let me leave you with this question. If God is for you, who can stand against you? Romans 8:31. Your silence became their judgment day, but for you, it became the doorway to something greater, a divine promotion that no man can take away. Are you ready to step into that victory? Because this is only the beginning. Your silence has spoken, and now the world will see what happens when a chosen one rises. Number 2, they miscalculated your resilience. They thought they had you all figured out. fragile, predictable, and easily broken. To them, you were nothing more than an easy target, a house of glass they could shatter with a single blow. They miscalculated. What they failed to see was that what appeared fragile on the surface was fortified beneath the weight of experiences they couldn't begin to comprehend. They didn't realize that the very storms meant to destroy you were the same storms that deepened your roots and strengthened your resolve. Chosen ones, how many times did they count you out, believing you couldn't rise? How many moments did they watch, hoping to see you crumble under the pressure? Did they whisper behind your back, "This time, they're finished"? But tell me, did you fall, or did you rise again and again, stronger and wiser each time? The Bible reminds us in James 1:2-4, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." Your pain was never foreign to you. It had shaped you long before they even entered your life. You knew suffering, you knew disappointment, and you knew how to rise. What they mistook for weakness was your preparation. Every insult, every betrayal, every obstacle they threw your way only refined you, like gold tested in fire. Think back for a moment. How many battles have you already overcome that others wouldn't survive? Do you remember the sleepless nights, the silent tears, the moments you questioned if you could keep going? Yet, here you are. They didn't see what you endured in silence. They only saw your victories. But the truth is, each scar became a symbol of your unshakable strength. Think of Job, a man who lost everything, his family, his wealth, and his health. His friends believed his suffering would break him. His wife even said, "Curse God and die." Job 2:9. But Job refused to crumble. He held on to his faith and endured the unimaginable. Let me ask you, have you ever felt like Job, abandoned and surrounded by voices telling you to give up? Like Job, your resilience wasn't a coincidence. It was a testament to the quiet strength God instilled in you. While they thought you were breaking, you were being rebuilt. Here's the truth they never saw coming. Resilience isn't flashy. It's quiet, relentless, and unshakable. It doesn't announce itself in loud victories. It builds itself brick by brick in the darkness of hardship. What they intended as sabotage turned into your stepping stones. Can you see now how every betrayal made you wiser? How every insult became fuel for your growth? You were never fragile. You were being fortified for something greater. Romans 5:3-4 captures it perfectly. We glory in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance character, and character hope. How many of their attempts to tear you down only made you smarter, sharper, and more determined? Have you noticed that their schemes no longer carry weight? While they were fixated on you, you were quietly rising, brick by brick, building a version of yourself they could never touch. Here's where their failure stings the most. It wasn't just that you survived, it was that you thrived. They were counting on your collapse. They waited, expecting to celebrate your downfall. But instead, you rose, stronger, sharper, and more unshakable than ever before. And you realize how powerful it is to thrive in the face of those who doubted you. Do you feel the weight of God's hand guiding you, turning every weapon formed against you into a stepping stone? They thought they could bury you, but they didn't know you were a seed. Isaiah 40:31 says, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." While they were plotting your destruction, God was renewing you. So, are you ready to acknowledge the strength within you that they tried to dismiss? Can you feel the resilience they underestimated now, burning like fire in your soul? Because here's the truth. They gambled everything on your collapse, but they forgot one thing. When God has called you, no weapon formed against you will prosper. Isaiah 54:17. Look around you, the life you are building, the version of yourself you are becoming. They can't touch it, they can't reach it, and they certainly can't stop it. So tell me, chosen one, how far will you rise now that you know their opinions are irrelevant and their schemes powerless? The battle they thought would break you has become the very testimony that will inspire others. You didn't just survive, you transcended. And now the question is no longer, will you make it? The question is, how high will you soar? Number 3, your pain became their karma. The pain they caused you was never the end of your story. What they believed would destroy you, break your spirit, and silence your light became the very thing that ignited your transformation. Your suffering didn't stay dormant, it transformed into your strength, your wisdom, and your purpose. But here's the twist they didn't see coming. That pain didn't just evaporate into thin air. It lingered, not with you, but in their lives, waiting for the moment when karma would settle the score. The Bible is clear in Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. They thought they were getting away with their actions. Maybe they laughed as they plotted, convinced there were no consequences. But the seeds of harm they planted in your life were also being planted in their own future. Have you noticed how the same pain they inflicted on you has a way of finding its way back to them? While you chose to heal, facing your pain, processing it, and letting it shape you into someone stronger, they ignored theirs. You turned your suffering into growth. They ran from their accountability, believing they could outrun karma. But as the saying goes, what goes around comes around. And when it does, it arrives unrelenting, carrying with it the full weight of their choices. Think of Joseph's brothers in Genesis 37-50. Out of jealousy, they betrayed him, throwing him into a pit and selling him into slavery. They thought they had gotten rid of him and moved on with their lives, free of guilt. But years later, famine forced them to kneel before the very brother they had wronged, Joseph, now a ruler in Egypt. Their guilt and betrayal came full circle, and Joseph's pain turned into his triumph. Do you see it? What was meant to harm you becomes the very thing God uses to elevate you. Let me ask you this. Have you ever witnessed the chaos that unfolds when someone tries to harm a child of God? Their actions are never forgotten. While they laughed at your struggle, karma was preparing a lesson for them. And here's the irony. While they were busy hoping you'd fail, the same energy they used to hurt you became their downfall. Here's the beauty of it all. You didn't focus on revenge, you focused on healing. That was the difference. You moved forward, while they remained stuck in the darkness they tried to project onto you. Proverbs 24:17 reminds us, do not gloat when your enemy falls. When they stumble, do not let your heart rejoice. It's not about celebrating their pain, it's about recognizing that justice, God's justice, is inevitable. So now, look at where you are and look at where they stand. The chaos they tried to create for you has become their reality. The pain they caused didn't bury you, it elevated you. While they reap the consequences of their actions, you are thriving, free, and victorious. That's the balance of the scales. Have you ever felt the peace of knowing you didn't have to lift a finger for justice? Because God's justice moves in ways that no human hand ever could. Number 4, they built their throne on a lie, and you shattered it. Their power was never real. It was an illusion, a carefully crafted tower of lies, manipulation, and smoke. They wore their deceit like armor, believing no one could pierce through it. They built their empire on arrogance, convinced their lies would never see the light of day. But what they didn't account for, what they never saw coming, was you. You weren't loud, you weren't flashy, but you carried something far more powerful than their lies. Truth. Your authenticity, your quiet strength, and your unwavering character were like cracks in the foundation they built. Every step you took in integrity was a hammer that chipped away at their throne of deceit. Have you ever noticed how one small truth can bring down an entire mountain of lies? The Bible says in Luke 8:17, "For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light." They thought their lies would protect them forever, but truth has a way of exposing darkness. You didn't have to fight them with their own weapons. You didn't need manipulation, scheming, or deceit to succeed. Your authenticity alone dismantled everything they built. Think of Haman in the book of Esther. He built a gallows, plotting to destroy Mordecai and the Jewish people, but his own schemes became his downfall. The gallows he prepared for someone else became the very instrument of his demise. Do you see the parallels in your story? Those who thrive on lies eventually collapse under the weight of their own deceit. So, have you ever watched someone scramble to hold together their lies while the truth stood firm in your favor? That's the power of walking in truth. It doesn't need force or manipulation. It just is. And while they scrambled to maintain their crumbling facade, you stood unshaken, proving that real power comes from integrity, not deceit. Here's the ultimate irony. Their downfall wasn't caused by you. It was caused by them. Their lies couldn't support the weight of their own arrogance. The empire they built was destroyed from within, and all you did was remain true to yourself. Proverbs 10:9 says, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out." Can you feel it now? The strength of knowing you didn't have to destroy them, they destroyed themselves. While they tried to hold on to their crumbling throne, you rose above it, untouched and unshaken. The truth they tried to outrun became the very thing that caught up to them. So, let me ask you this. How powerful is the truth you carry? Do you see now that your authenticity was never a weakness? It was your greatest weapon. Their lies have crumbled, their power has fallen, and yet here you are, standing tall, thriving, and victorious. Because in the end, a throne built on lies will always fall, but the truth you embody will stand the test of time. And that, chosen one, is the difference between them and you. Number 5. Your glow forced them into the shadows. There is something undeniably powerful about a soul that refuses to be dimmed. Your success was never just about personal victories. It was a blinding light that illuminated everything around you. The contrast was undeniable. While you soared on the wings of hard work, authenticity, and grace, they stumbled, caught in the shadows of their own insecurities. Your growth wasn't just an inspiration, it was an exposure, a mirror reflecting the truth they desperately wanted to hide. The Bible says in Matthew 5:14-16, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Your glow wasn't just for you. It was evidence of God's favor, of perseverance rewarded, and of what happens when someone walks in their purpose. And for those who thrived in the darkness, manipulating, scheming, and deceiving, your light became too much to bear. Think about this. How often did they dismiss your achievements as luck? How many times did they twist your victories to make themselves feel better? They didn't realize that every attempt to downplay your success only made your light shine brighter. Their discomfort wasn't about you, it was about what your glow revealed about them. Can you remember a moment when you realized they couldn't handle your growth? It wasn't because you pushed them away, it was because your light disrupted their shadows. While you kept moving forward, they retreated, not because you forced them to, but because they couldn't stand the contrast. David and Saul illustrate this perfectly. Saul, once king, became consumed with envy over David's victories and favor from God. 1 Samuel 18:12 says, Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with David, but had departed from Saul. Saul's fear came not from David's actions, but from David's light, his favor, and his strength. Similarly, your growth became a reminder of their stagnation, and they couldn't bear to face it. Here's the question. Why do you think they spent so much time trying to dim your light instead of finding their own? It's because they mistook your glow for competition, forgetting that light shines brightest when shared, not stolen. The beauty of your journey is this. You didn't shine to prove anything to them. You didn't glow to expose their weaknesses. You shone because that's who you are, someone dedicated to truth, growth, and purpose. Your radiance came from God's favor, not their approval. And while they faded into irrelevance, you continued to thrive, untouched and unstoppable. Now, think about this. Have you ever hesitated to shine because you feared making others uncomfortable? If so, remember John 1:5. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Your light isn't meant to be hidden. It's meant to inspire others and remind them of what's possible. So here you stand, unbothered, victorious, and shining brighter than ever. While they disappear into the shadows they once ruled, you remain a beacon of what's achievable when you refuse to dim your light for anyone. Number 6. Your wins were proof. They couldn't write your story. They tried to dictate your story before you ever picked up the pen. Their version of you was filled with limitation, failure, and submission, a narrative designed to keep you small and under their control. They whispered lies, spread falsehoods, and painted you in colors that served their own agenda. But what they didn't realize was that their script was powerless. You were never the character they wrote. You were the author, and God Himself gave you the ink. Psalm 139:16 reminds us, Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. Your story was never theirs to control. Every time they tried to confine you, God's plan for you shattered their limits. Your victories weren't just wins, they were rejections of the lies they tried to tell. Reflect on this. How many times did they tell you who you couldn't be? How often did they try to box you into their small-minded perceptions? Yet, every step you took toward your goals became proof that their words had no power over you. Imagine this. Have you ever looked back and realized how far you've come despite everything they said? It wasn't their permission that got you here. It was your courage to step outside the limits they imposed and trust in the story God is writing for you. Think again of Joseph's journey. His brothers threw him into a pit and sold him into slavery, thinking they had written his end. But God had a different plan. The very pit they used to bury Joseph became the first step toward his rise. Years later, he stood in power, and his brothers bowed before him, witnesses to the truth they once tried to deny. Their attempts to write your story couldn't stand because your determination, your resilience, and God's favor broke through every false narrative. You didn't just rewrite their script, you burned it, leaving no trace of the lies they hoped would define you. Now consider this. Isn't it incredible how your wins became the loudest answer to their doubts. You didn't need to confront them, argue with them, or seek their validation. Your life itself, your growth, your success, and your freedom became the evidence they could never refute. The truth is, their version of your story has faded into irrelevance. The words they used to hold you back now carry no weight, and while they wasted their time trying to limit you, you focused on building something eternal. So, what's the next chapter you'll write now that you know their opinions mean nothing? Because the pen is in your hands, and your story is one of triumph, resilience, and undeniable authenticity. In the end, their lies became dust, and your truth became a legacy. And that, chosen one, is a narrative no one can ever erase. Are you ready to write the next page? Number 7. Their jealousy turned into self-destruction. Jealousy is a silent destroyer, a poison that seeps into the soul and corrodes everything it touches. For them, their envy of you was not just a fleeting emotion, it became an all-consuming fire, one they couldn't extinguish. Instead of looking inward to better themselves, they became obsessed with you, your growth, your victories, your glow. Their focus was no longer on their potential, but on your progress, and that is where the seeds of their destruction were planted. Proverbs 14:30 reveals this truth. A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. That's what jealousy does. It rots from the inside out. It began quietly at first, like a whisper of discomfort when they saw you rise. But then it grew until every move you made became their fixation. They watched, waiting for you to stumble, searching for evidence to validate their feelings of inadequacy. But here's the irony. While their gaze was locked on you, their own lives began to unravel. Have you ever wondered why some people focus so much on tearing others down instead of building themselves up? It's because jealousy distorts vision. It blinds people to opportunities and potential within their own reach. For them, your success was a mirror they couldn't bear to look into, a reflection of what they could have achieved if only they'd turned that energy inward. Instead of using their gifts, their ambition turned bitter. Their creativity twisted into schemes. Every moment spent plotting your downfall was a moment stolen from their own progress. Think of Cain and Abel in Genesis 4:3-8. Cain's jealousy of Abel's favor with God led to his own destruction. Instead of reflecting on his actions and striving to do better, Cain allowed envy to consume him, ultimately committing a grave sin that cost him everything. Isn't that what happens when jealousy takes hold? It blinds people to their blessings, their abilities, and their growth, leaving destruction in its wake. They thought their battle was against you, but they were waging war against their own insecurities and losing. Relationships crumbled, goals were abandoned. The energy they could have poured into building themselves up became wasted effort, tangled in bitterness and obsession. Every step they took trying to sabotage you was another step further from their own purpose. Can you see it now? Their downfall wasn't caused by you. It was caused by their refusal to let go of envy and step into their own lane. Meanwhile, you thrived, not because of them, but in spite of them. While they were stuck in a loop of comparison and resentment, you kept moving forward, focused on your path. You didn't need to engage with their jealousy because you understood something they didn't. Your success has nothing to do with their limitations. As Romans 12:21 says, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." You chose to rise above, and in doing so, you left them behind. Their jealousy became a vacuum, sucking the life from everything they touched. Can you imagine it? While they were watching you, their relationships suffered, their dreams faded, Their identity eroded until there was nothing left but bitterness and regret. They thought tearing you down would elevate them, but instead it exposed their own weaknesses. The beauty of it all is this: you didn't have to do a thing. You didn't have to fight back, defend yourself, or seek revenge. Your only response was to keep going, to keep growing, and to let God handle the rest. Psalm 23:5 reminds us, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows." Your success became a silent response, a living testimony that you cannot be dimmed by the envy of others. So let me ask you, do you see now how your growth exposes the cracks in those who refuse to heal? While they obsessed over your journey, their own path crumbled beneath them, and by the time they realized the destruction envy had caused, it was too late. They stood among the wreckage of their own choices, surrounded by nothing but regret. The lesson here is clear. Jealousy never harms the target, it destroys the one who harbors it. Your resilience, your glow, and your victories are proof that no weapon formed against you can prosper. Isaiah 54:17. And as you continue to rise, they are left behind, swallowed by the shadows of their own bitterness. Now, as you stand tall in your success, the question isn't why did they envy you? The question is, why didn't they realize that there was room for them to shine too? If only they had let go of comparison and embraced their own potential. But instead, their jealousy turned to self-destruction, and you remain unbothered, untouched, and victorious. Number 8. You didn't just rise. You became unreachable. Your rise was never about proving them wrong. It was about proving yourself right, about living up to the purpose that God placed inside of you. You didn't just stand back up after they tried to knock you down. You soared to heights they couldn't even imagine. Every obstacle they threw your way became fuel for your ascent. Every betrayal a stepping stone. Every insult a silent whisper reminding you to keep going. The Bible reminds us in Isaiah 40:31, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." That is what happened to you. While they were distracted by their jealousy and petty schemes, you kept climbing, unshaken, unrelenting, and unstoppable. Their mistake was believing they knew your limits, but they failed to see that someone chosen by God has no limits. Can you feel it now? The air is different where you stand. It's clearer, freer, quiet. You've risen so far beyond their reach that their noise has faded into nothing more than a distant hum. The battles they tried to drag you into now seem small, their tactics laughable, and their attempts irrelevant. You aren't even on the same playing field anymore because you've elevated into a space they can't comprehend. Let's think about Nehemiah in Nehemiah 6:3. When his enemies tried to distract him and pull him away from building the walls of Jerusalem, Nehemiah responded, "I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down." That's where you are now. You're too focused, too elevated, too anointed to be dragged into their schemes. Your growth didn't just lift you, it removed you from their grasp entirely. They thought they could contain you in their small, limited understanding of who you were. But what unsettles them the most now is that they don't even recognize the person you've become. How could they? The version of you they tried to tear down no longer exists. You've outgrown their labels, their opinions, and their petty limitations. Their reaction is telling. While you thrive in your newfound elevation, they are left choking on the dust of your progress, paralyzed by the realization that they'll never catch up. Have you noticed how quiet they become? How their words no longer carry weight? That's because their opinions were never the source of your power. God's purpose was. You didn't just succeed, you transcended. You didn't just climb, you became unreachable. It's not just that you've moved up, it's that you've moved beyond. Beyond their opinions, beyond their negativity, beyond their small-minded view of who you could become. Proverbs 4:18 says, "The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day." Your progress shines brighter than they can stand, and the light exposes everything they are not. But here's the real beauty. You're not looking back. You're not concerned with their reactions, their struggles, or their inability to grow. You're focused on the work ahead of you, on becoming the person God has called you to be. While they waste time trying to figure out how you got so far ahead, you're already working on your next victory. Ask yourself this: how many times did they doubt you? How often did they try to pull you back into their chaos? But here you are, standing tall, untouched and completely free. You've left their world behind, not out of spite, but because you refuse to let anyone dim your light or limit your purpose. Now, the only thing they can do is watch. Watch as you thrive. Watch as you grow. Watch as you become the very proof that no weapon formed against a child of God will ever prosper. Isaiah 54:17. They thought they could hold you back, but all they did was fuel your rise. And here's what you need to know. This is only the beginning. The heights you've reached now are nothing compared to where God is taking you next. Are you ready to soar even higher? Because you didn't just rise, you became untouchable. You became unreachable. And they will spend the rest of their lives wondering how they lost sight of you. Number 9. They were watching, but you were working. They watched you with intent eyes, hoping to catch the moment you stumbled, waiting for evidence that you were weaker than you appeared. Every move you made was scrutinized, every success questioned, and every challenge magnified. To them, you were a spectacle, a source of entertainment they could dissect and judge. But what they didn't realize was that while they were busy watching, you were busy working. The Bible says in Proverbs 14:23, "All hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty." While they spent their time gossiping, criticizing, and predicting your downfall, you were putting in the work. In the quiet hours, when no one was watching, you were sharpening your skills, building your discipline, and preparing yourself for a level of success they couldn't comprehend. You weren't performing for their approval. You were building a foundation so strong that nothing they did could shake it. How often did they mistake your silence for weakness? They believed that because you didn't respond to their noise, you had nothing left in you. But silence is powerful. It's where the greatest breakthroughs are born. Every moment they wasted watching you was a moment you used to evolve. You were investing in yourself, learning, growing, and strengthening every part of your life. And here's the truth that stings them the most. They thought they had you figured out. They believed their petty attempts would break your stride, but you were always 2 steps ahead. Your growth was steady, relentless, and unstoppable. Every insult they hurled, every scheme they plotted, those were never obstacles for you. They became fuel. Each time they underestimated you, they unknowingly handed you more strength to rise. Can you see it now? Their focus on your missteps blinded them to the bigger picture. While they were busy hoping for your failure, they missed the fact that you were no longer on their level. By the time they realized what was happening, you had already outgrown them. Not because you sought revenge, but because you were too immersed in your own growth to even notice their distractions. And in the end, what did they witness? Not your collapse, not your defeat, but your triumph. A triumph built in the quiet, unseen hours when they thought you were doing nothing. While they were watching, you were working, and that made all the difference. So ask yourself, who's really ahead? The one watching or the one building? The answer is clear. You were never competing with them. You were competing with the person you were yesterday, and you won. Number 10. Your forgiveness was their biggest punishment. They hurt you, expecting your anger to consume you. They thought their betrayal, their cruelty, or their words would break you into pieces, leaving you stuck in bitterness and revenge. But when you chose forgiveness, you delivered a punishment they never anticipated. The Bible teaches us the transformative power of forgiveness in Ephesians 4:31-32. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's the ultimate show of strength. By forgiving them, you chose peace over chaos, freedom over chains, and growth over stagnation. Here's what they didn't understand. Forgiveness wasn't about letting them off the hook. It was about releasing yourself from the burden of their actions. Have you ever realized how light you feel when you finally let go of the anger they tried to implant in you? Forgiving them didn't excuse their behavior. It rendered it powerless. Imagine this. While they expected you to stew in resentment, you simply moved forward. That was the real punishment. They wanted you trapped in anger, replaying their wrongs over and over, but instead you walked away unshaken. The weight of what they did stayed with them, not you. Your forgiveness created a void they didn't know how to fill, a mirror forcing them to confront their guilt. Their expectation was simple, that your anger would give them power over you, but your choice to forgive dismantled their control. Every time they think of the pain they caused, they are met with the reality that it didn't break you. It didn't hold you back. It didn't define you. Instead of punishing them with words or actions, you punished them with peace. Can you imagine how unsettling that is for someone who thrives on conflict? While they wrestled with guilt, shame, and regret, you thrived in freedom. Your decision to let go became a declaration. I refuse to be bound by what you did. I choose peace. I choose purpose. I choose God's plan for my life. So, who truly suffers more, the one who forgives and moves forward, or the one left haunted by their own actions? Your forgiveness was not a gift to them. It was a reclamation of your power. While they remain stuck in the wreckage of their choices, you walk boldly into the future God has prepared for you. The beauty of forgiveness is this. It didn't make them feel absolved. It made them feel insignificant. Their actions lost their grip on you, and as you thrived, they were left behind, wrestling with the weight of their guilt. So remember this. Forgiveness is not a weakness. It is your victory. It proves that they could not define you, control you, or break you. By choosing to forgive, you chose freedom, and that will always be their greatest punishment. And now ask yourself, who truly won? The answer is clear. While they remain stuck in the shadows of their own regret, you are thriving in the light of peace, purpose, and unstoppable progress. Number 11. You became a walking reminder of their failure. Every time you take a step forward, you become a reflection of their inability to stop you. They thought they could manipulate you, control your narrative, and break you down with their schemes. But with every milestone you reach, you shatter their illusions and expose their failure. You didn't just survive, you thrived. Now, your progress is a constant reminder of how wrong they were. Have you ever wondered why your success seems to bother them so much? It's because every step you take toward greatness is like a spotlight exposing their shortcomings. They invested so much energy into holding you back. And yet, here you stand, stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. How does it feel to know that the very people who tried to bury you are now forced to watch you bloom? Think about this. They wrote you off, underestimated you, and believed their sabotage would be the end of your story. But here's the irony. Everything they did to destroy you became fuel for your success. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." What they meant for harm, God turned for your good, and now they can't look away from the reality of their failure. Now, do you realize how powerful it is to stand tall in a life they swore you'd never achieve? They see you thriving, and every moment of your progress serves as a mirror they can't escape, a reflection of their wasted efforts. They told themselves you were weak, incapable, or unworthy, but your victories are undeniable proof that their words were lies. Have you ever felt their eyes on you, watching, lurking, analyzing, waiting for you to stumble? Yet, instead of failing, you rose. Every achievement you unlock is another nail in the coffin of their expectations. The more you succeed, the clearer it becomes. Their power over you was never real. How many times did they try to stop you? And how many times did you prove them wrong? Consider this. While they obsessed over you, pouring their energy into your failure, you were busy building something lasting. You weren't focused on revenge, you were focused on growth. And now, your progress is a constant reminder of what they couldn't achieve. Not because they weren't capable, but because they were too busy trying to keep you small. So, do you see how far you've come? Can you feel the power of knowing that their actions, which were meant to break you, only built you stronger? They see it too. It burns them from the inside out, because they cannot escape the truth. They failed to stop you. Here's what stings them the most. They see you soaring to heights they never imagined, and they realize they played no role in your success. Worse yet, they became an unintentional part of the story that elevated you. The pain they caused you turned into the very fire that propelled your growth. And can you imagine how humbling it must be for them to realize their greatest efforts to break you only made you unstoppable? They can't look away. Your success is like a shadow that follows them wherever they go. No matter how hard they try to ignore it, they can feel it. Your resilience, your victories, your strength. And the best part? You didn't rise out of spite or revenge. You rose because you were called. God placed greatness inside of you, and no amount of sabotage could ever change that. So now, how does it feel to know that you've become the very proof of their failure? They're left wrestling with the reality of their own actions, unable to escape the consequences of their choices. Every time they see you thrive, they are confronted with the truth. They tried to break you, but instead, you became a force they cannot touch. You didn't just rise, you became a reminder of what happens when someone refuses to give up. And now, the only thing they can do is watch. Watch as you live the life they swore you'd never have. How far will you go now that nothing and no one can hold you back? Because your journey isn't over. This is just the beginning. Number 12. They woke the warrior, not the victim. They underestimated you in ways they'll never live down. They thought their cruelty, their manipulation, and their endless attempts to break you would be the end of your story. They expected you to crumble, to bow down, to surrender to the weight of their attacks. But they had no idea who they were dealing with. Instead of breaking you, they did the unthinkable. They woke up the warrior inside you. So you. How many times did they push you, believing they had found your limit? How many times did they misjudge your strength, thinking this would finally be the moment you gave up? Yet, with every blow, with every obstacle they threw in your path, they were unknowingly forging you, sharpening you like iron in the fire. Proverbs 27:17 reminds us, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." What they sent to destroy you only made you stronger. What they failed to see was that you were never the victim in their story. You were not someone to pity or control. You refused to let their darkness define you. Each setback became a setup for your comeback. Did you feel it? The moment when the pain they caused turned into fuel, the fire that propelled you forward. Instead of folding under the pressure, you rose with it. You turned your wounds into wisdom, your obstacles into opportunities, and their schemes into stepping stones. Think of David before Goliath. Goliath mocked David, underestimating him as nothing more than a boy. Yet David stepped forward, not with fear, but with faith. He declared in 1 Samuel 17:45, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty." Like David, you didn't just face your battles, you conquered them. You didn't need validation or permission to fight back. You needed only the strength God placed within you. So, can you see the warrior that has emerged from the fire they put you through? They tried to write your downfall, but all they did was awaken a side of you they weren't prepared for. The person they thought they could defeat is gone. In their place stands someone unbreakable, unshakable, and unstoppable. How does it feel to know that every challenge they threw at you only refined your strength? While they were busy trying to tear you apart, you were quietly rebuilding yourself, layer by layer, stronger than before. Their schemes backfired spectacularly because every single trial made you sharper, wiser, and fiercer. The warrior they awoke doesn't just survive, you thrive. You're no longer fighting to prove yourself to anyone. You've risen above their noise, their pettiness, and their small-minded view of who you are. Now, they watch from the sidelines as you move through life with a confidence they cannot touch. Isaiah 41:10 reminds us of this promise. "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Have you ever wondered why they're so unsettled now? It's because they see the result of their misguided efforts. They tried to break you, but instead you became the storm, the thunder that shakes their illusions, and the calm that reminds them of their irrelevance. Every time they look at you now, they see their greatest failure, the warrior they created by accident. Here's the truth. You didn't just survive the storms they sent your way. You became the very storm itself, the unstoppable force they cannot contend with. And the best part, your success wasn't a reaction to their actions. It was born from your refusal to be limited by their expectations. So now think about this. What does it mean to fully step into your power? To rise so high that their attempts to hold you back feel laughable. With every step you take, every victory you claim, you remind them that their greatest mistake was underestimating you. Your life is living proof that power doesn't come from others' validation. It comes from within, from your authenticity, your unrelenting faith, and your refusal to let anyone dim your light. They tried to create a victim, but they awoke a warrior. And now, every step you take is a declaration that their attempts were powerless. Can you feel it now? The strength, the clarity, the unstoppable drive that they never saw coming. You've risen, not to prove them wrong, but to fulfill the calling God placed on your life. And now, as you stand tall in your power, the only thing they can do is watch. Watch as you ascend even higher, knowing there's nothing they can do to stop you. Are you ready to embrace the warrior they never thought you could become? Because this is your time, and no one can take it from you. Being God's chosen one is no easy journey. It is a path marked with trials, betrayals, and tests that shake the very core of your being. But in those trials, you are forged into someone unshakable. Every attack they launched against you, every insult and every scheme became fuel for your transformation. What they meant for harm, God turned into purpose. Your silence, your endurance, and your rise weren't just victories for you. They were lessons for those who doubted you and awakenings for those who opposed you. This is the truth. You were chosen not because you were perfect. but because you were prepared by God to stand strong where others would fall. Romans 8:31 reminds us, if God is for us, who can be against us? Your enemies underestimated you, but most importantly, they underestimated the God who walks with you. And when God's favor is on your life, no weapon, no scheme, no lie, no betrayal can prosper. Their war became their undoing, not because of your retaliation, but because of your resilience, your silence, and God's justice. So to those walking this path today, stand firm. Do not be distracted by the noise, the accusations, or the envy of others. Remember that their attempts to break you are signs of your significance. Every chosen one walks through the fire, but it is in that fire that you are refined. And as you rise higher, those who sought to tear you down will watch, not in victory, but in the ruins of their own plans. To everyone who has joined me on this journey, I want to express my deepest gratitude. Your time, your attention, and your willingness to reflect on this message mean everything. You are not here by accident. This message was meant for you. If you feel the truth of these words, it is because God is working in your life, preparing you for what is to come. If this message has inspired you, I encourage you to share it with others. Like it, share it, and let it reach those who need to hear it most. There are many who feel lost, broken, or underestimated. Let this be the light that reminds them of their strength, their purpose, and their place in God's plan. Together we can be vessels for His truth and encouragement. As you step forward into your purpose, I pray that God continues to bless you abundantly. May His favor rest upon you, His protection surround you, and His strength guide you through every trial. Remember, you are chosen, you are loved, and you are destined for greatness. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. Numbers 6:24-26. Go forth with confidence, chosen one. Your journey is just beginning, and your testimony will inspire generations to come. Keep rising, keep walking, and trust that God has already written your victory. Thank you for being here. Until next time, stay strong, stay blessed, and shine your light for all the world to see.